Hello, all performers. Hope this finds you well. Last Friday afternoon, I had a closing virtual keynote. And it was just one of those days where you would think at this point we would be kind of used to this stuff, but for whatever reason, it was just a comedy of technological errors. Um, and nothing was playing along. Nothing was playing nicely in my virtual closing keynote like I've never had before, ever since the pandemic hit a couple of years ago. And you might know from watching some of my videos or from hearing me talk, I don't share my screen when I speak. I actually have a virtual software program that just comes in and does what we call animated overlays across the screen like you're seeing right now. And I remember I got on about 15 minutes early. I'm not going to name the platform, but I got on about 15 minutes early and started looking at my camera. And it was all, the orientation was all weird. I think it was in 4:3 when I got on it. So my left and right were chopped off, or the sides. Then I flipped it to 16:9, but it was cutting off the top and the bottom. Did everything that I possibly knew how to do to be able to switch it around. And finally it was okay, you can't present the way that you're used to presenting, the way that you do for all of your other keynotes virtually. So somebody just said, why don't you go ahead and why don't you just share your screen? Which I don't put anybody down when they do that. I just try to do it a little bit better as a professional speaker, where I despise sharing my screen and running people through a PowerPoint. But it was the best I had in this circumstance. So fired up PowerPoint, started the presentation, got through my intro, and then tried to advance my slides. And they were advancing on my end, but for the people that were sitting there watching it virtually, it wasn't advancing for any of them. So I took a couple minutes and I was trying to troubleshoot and was trying to figure it out. And finally, I just got to a point where nothing that I was doing was working. And for the life of me, I'm normally pretty good with tech. I could not figure out what was going on. So I literally just stopped what I was doing, stopped sharing my screen, stopped my overlays and everything else, and just literally said, all right, you and me, we're sitting here in the next 45 to 50 minutes, and we're just going to talk like this direct to camera about peak performance. And by the way, the chat wasn't working or anything else either. So it was literally just me talking like I'm talking now in a closing keynote for 45 to 50 minutes, wondering if there was anybody else out there. And there was no interaction whatsoever. So it was a very interesting experience. But I had so many people come back to me afterwards and actually said, I couldn't believe how quickly you pivoted off of that when these things weren't working. Like, because you've probably, hopefully this hasn't happened to you, but maybe you've seen a speaker where technology is not working, PowerPoint, audio, video, etc. And it can be a really uncomfortable experience. So finally, I just had to realize after a couple minutes of not being able to get it to work, I've got to pivot, I've got to go in a different direction. And people were super complimentary afterwards. And you might say, well, what actually gives you the confidence to be able to do something like that? Well, the confidence is built from the familiarity. The familiarity is built from the preparation, or built from the reps. Or sometimes taking it from that first step, I just say the preparation breeds familiarity, familiarity breeds confidence, confidence breeds success. And I just simply say this because obviously you don't need to be a professional speaker or doing any of what I'm doing to get something out of this, but that reps part of it, I bet that you're probably putting in reps, or you're putting in preparation towards something in your personal, professional, athletic life. And you might be saying, I don't even know why in the heck I'm doing this. Like, I don't even understand how this is getting me closer to where I want to go, or if this is going to even amount to anything at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year. And I'm here to tell you that it will. Because sometimes that comes out when we least expect it. And what gives you the confidence in a situation where, you know what, I have to pivot off of this thing, or I have to do something completely different, or I have to be able to adapt and thrive through this change. What gives you the confidence and the courage to be able to move forward in a circumstance like that is having something that's more familiar. And then having something that's more familiar is knowing that you've done the work, knowing that you've put in the time, knowing that you've put in the reps. So it will not be all for naught, however you're thinking about this, because I promise you, and I guarantee you're putting in reps in some area of your life and perhaps wondering, like, is this ever going to amount to anything? Is this ever really going to pay off? And it always does. End of the week, end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year. So that's number one. Number two is it can be really easy to have kind of the freak out factor when things aren't working that well, especially in a circumstance like that where you're on and you're supposed to be on for a lot of people. And it can be very easy to think, what are the people out there like? What are they going to say? What are they going to be thinking? Like when I can't get any of this stuff to work and I'm all flustered. It's the wrong mindset. It's the wrong questions to be asking. The better question to ask is, how can I still be of service? Sometimes we'll just say we're all in the service industry, right? We're all here to serve others. And for the very brief moment where I was, okay, I need to pick a different path as far as what I'm doing here because nothing is working with this presentation. And I started to freak out a little bit and wonder, I've legitimately never done a closing keynote like that for 45 to 50 minutes, just me talking to the camera without interaction, kind of the fireside chat with Scott Welle. I'd never done anything like that before, but I had to anchor in. And in that moment where I started to freak out a little bit, I had to just say, how can I still be of service? How can I still serve these people that are here with excellence? And you might have to anchor in that mindset as well, where if you need to pivot off of something, if you need to make a change, if you need to adapt to what's going on, asking yourself that question, how can I still serve the people that need it most, is an excellent and is a better question to ask in anything that you're doing. So I hope these two things served you. Know that those reps stacked up over time are going to make it familiar, are going to bring and breed your confidence, and are going to help make you more successful, as well as keeping that service mindset and thinking about, regardless of what is going on or what change, chaos, crisis is swirling around, how can I still serve people with excellence? You do those two things, I promise you're going to be outperforming. You're going to be a lot better off. So thank you for watching this video. And as always, wishing you the best of health, happiness, and high performance. Have a great day.